Phase 3 of the High Republic is just around the corner. To celebrate, I wanted to look back at everything I loved about Phase 2, so that's what we're going to do today. There will be spoilers for all of the books and comics of Phase 2 ahead, so be warned. Starting with Path of Deceit, I thought Marta and Yanaro were two of the best new characters of the initiative, but I especially loved Marta. Her quick, tragic, summer fling-style romance with Kevmo felt genuine, and the way the consequences of it rippled out into the rest of the phase was great. The Path of the Open Hand was an interesting concept I don't think we've seen before in Star Wars, and the Mother wound up being a very compelling villain. I really enjoyed the power struggle that developed between her, Marta, and the Herald. Watching the mystery of the Mother become clear over the course of the books and comics was a blast. In the adult novels, Axel Greylark very quickly became one of my favorite High Republic characters. The young, troublemaking son of a Chancellor is something else we haven't seen in Star Wars before, and Axel was both terrible and easy to root for at the same time, and he found redemption without dying. His relationship with his mother wound up being key to the Battle of Dalna, and I loved her resigning and giving up her galactic power to save her son, and how much that shocked the Mother. I also really enjoyed the relationship between Fantu and Ziri, a political marriage that turned into a genuine star-crossed romance that was fun to watch unfold on the war-torn planets of Irem and Arano. The main comic run was fantastic for all 10 issues. I loved learning about the Convocation of the Force. Vildar Mak and Maddie Catley were great Jedi characters, but Tay Surik, the former Guardian of the Wills, was the standout. Seeing all of the Guardians provide aid to Vildar as he worked to save several members of the Path of the Open Hand was an incredibly powerful scene. The Battle of Jedha as an event was great. I loved that we could see it play out in an audio drama, the main comic, the High Republic adventures, and more. I thought it was an excellent touch to tell the story of how the final Jedi statue on the moon fell. Seeing the Leveler run amok was terrifying, especially in a city full of Force users. I thought the Nameless were handled very well in Phase 2, used often enough that we got to see and learn more about them, but also not so often that they became boring. I was on edge every time they appeared. They featured most prominently in the Nameless Terror, which was supposed to be an all-ages comic, but had some of the most chilling visualizations of how the Shrieker could petrify a Force user. That story got dark. That was also probably our best look at a full Republic Pathfinder team. I wish we got to see more of them in Phase 2, because the hyperspace prospecting angle is really interesting to me. On the lighter side of comics, I enjoyed all the larger-than-life characters of Maz Kanata's pirate crew that appeared in the High Republic adventures. Dexter Jetster was great, and of course he was a pirate in a past life. I loved that Therm Scissorpunch was just kind of standing around for most of the story until he went nuts during the Battle of Jedha, but my favorites were probably Coromant and his tiny court-appointed probation officer, someone constantly rattling off citations and laws the pirate crew broke, but who is also too small to do anything about it. The gag worked for me every time it popped up. Getting away from the Battle of Jedha, I loved the structure of Wave 2 giving us a complete picture of the Battle of Dalna through all 3 books. Cataclysm gave us mostly the Jedi perspective, Path of Vengeance told us more through the eyes of the Path of the Open Hand, and Quest for Planet X showed us a bit of an outsider's point of view. Then the manga Edge of Balance told us even more, but also gave us some teases about Phase 3, and had some of the most frightening images of the phase centered around Aslan Rel, who we now know is going to be important to the next phase thanks to the Shadows of Starlight comic. He is quickly becoming one of my favorite characters of the era. The trip to Planet X was very exciting. I do hope the world gets an actual name, but it's even joked about in the stories. Anyway, a paradise planet that enhances the latent Force abilities of anyone who sets foot there is really interesting, and I'm sure we'll see more of it in Phase 3. Or at least I hope so, because learning that there are apparently even more terrifying creatures than the Nameless was not something I was expecting. I can't wait to see more from the Underdweller and the Protector. Set apart from the rest of Phase 2 was The Blade. Even though it didn't strongly connect with the other stories, I love Porter Engle to death, so seeing a bit of his background in his prime was excellent. Finally, I'll just say I loved seeing new authors join the High Republic team. Zoraida Cordova, Tessa Gratton, Lydia Kang, and George Mann were all welcome additions that each gave me some new Star Wars stuff to love. So thank you to them, and of course a continued thank you goes to Claudia Gray, Justina Ireland, Daniel Jose Older, Cavan Scott, and Charles Soule, And I'll throw out my excitement to have Alyssa Wong joining the writing crew for Phase 3. I love their work in Dr. Aphra and can't wait to see what they bring to the High Republic. But that's gonna bring me to the end of my list, which was kinda just off the top of my head. I meant to take some ongoing notes throughout Phase 2, but they weren't as extensive as I wanted them to be. I'm sure I missed some significant moments, so let me know what your favorite parts and characters of Phase 2 were in the comments. If you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the channel for our continuing High Republic coverage, follow us on our socials, and consider checking out our Patreon page. As always, thanks for watching, and may the Force be with you.